I mentioned the fall in retail sales for last month, 0.4%. Economist Lee Van Onselen's been on the show a few times, makes a very good point. That's even after the record immigration intake in February, and we still had sales go down that much. We're in real trouble, particularly Australians already here. Oh my goodness. The anti-Israel movement, meanwhile, has got even more obscene. Now students at Melbourne's Monash University, named after one of our greatest and Jewish generals, will occupy part of that campus in what they say is support of Intifada, a name that's been given to terrorist wars against Israeli Jews. I mean, seriously, this is so sick. And it's also derivative. I mean, these students occupying parts of Australian universities now, they're just copying even more extreme anti-Israel protests than American ones. Now, we could laugh at their ignorance, of course.
What would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine. I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU is doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either.
Now, we could laugh, but these protests are actually unleashing a very ugly anti-Semitism, with Jewish students threatened and blocked from entering their own universities.
Goodbye, Nazis. You're all Nazis. You're literally all Nazis.
What's my...
Go back to Poland.
This is what they do. Everybody, look at this. Look at this. I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school, and they're not letting me walk in.
Columbia University even stopped one of its own Jewish professors from coming on campus. But against all this, President Joe Biden is saying effectively nothing. He was his press secretary today.
I'm just not going to comment on leadership at colleges and universities, their decisions. That's for them to decide. We've been very clear. Americans have the right to peacefully protest, and we're going to continue to call out any type of hateful rhetoric, any type of potential hateful violence here.
Joining me is Sean Spicer, the first White House spokesman of President Donald Trump. Sean Spicer, thanks for your time. How bad are these protests that seem to be on so many campuses?
It's an interesting word that you're choosing, Andrew, bad. I think culturally it's very bad. The idea that this many Americans have trained their ire on the Jewish people here in America, something that I just didn't really think existed in America to the extent that it does. It's sad. Bad that our universities are this haven of hate, that they lack the control that they should have. So it's interesting when you say the word bad, I go to so many corners of how bad this is society-wise, for the future of America, for our institutions of learning, for our First Amendment and what we're permitting. It conjures up so many various thoughts that are all equally not good for America.
Now, Sean, you've made very clear that you consider these protests to be anti-Jewish. A lot of the protesters will say, we're not anti-Jewish, we're anti-Zionist, or we're anti-Israel, or we're trying to stop the killing of women and children in Gaza. I've seen so many examples of protesters actually being anti-Jewish, actually picking on Jewish students, that whatever the intention is, to me it does seem the effect of these protests is anti-Jewish. How do you see that?
I don't think there's any other way to see it but anti-Jewish. They're very clear in several of their chants that they want folks of Jewish descent to be exiled, to be killed. There's nothing that can be parsed about that. That's wrong. And the idea that and you know the other thing, and I'll credit one of my predecessors, the White House from the Bush administration, Dana Perino, earlier today. She talked about the fact that you never hear these people talk about how they want the hostages released. They're very clear what their position is. They don't equivocate. They're not specific. And again, these folks attacked, unprovoked, folks in Israel. They killed women and children who were innocent. They didn't attack military targets. They took hostage women and children and Americans. And here we are in America right now trying to figure out how we can have our both sides moment for the left, talking about ending a ceasefire. Israel has citizens that are being held hostage. America has citizens that are being held hostage. I cannot believe so many Americans are this stupid and bigoted